It's the last day of the baseball season, and an entire nation is caught up in the excitement of the most dramatic race in American League history. In the final weekend, 4 teams were still in it: Boston, Minnesota, Detroit, and the White Sox. And on this last day, 3 remain in the fight: the Tigers playing in Detroit, and the Red Sox and Twins battling head-to-head here in Fenway Park. Rico Petrocelli grabs Rich Rowland's pop fly. It's the last out. Boston wins the game, and all bedlam breaks loose. Hysterical fans come charging out of the stands and swarm onto the field. They carry pitching hero Jim Lonborg toward the dugout. The Red Sox have clinched at least a tie for the American League pennant. And with that news, all the Boston area, traditionally so staid and proper, simply explode. And they get even wilder a little later when they learn the Tigers have lost, and now Boston has won it all.
Let's go! Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a ball game today. The fans are out to get a ticket or two. From Walla Walla, Washington to Kalamazoo. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today. Batter up, strike one. Hey, the game has just begun, and the home team's out to win. Pitch a gypsy-do, he just fastball pop right in. This is it, strike 3! Fans are tearing up the chest, but watch
The Cardinals warm up for the opener. They also were the opposition the last time the Red Sox won a pennant back in 1946 and handed Boston its first defeat in 6 World Series appearances. Elston Howard and Roger Maris, former teammates with the Yankees, talk over old times. Commissioner William Eckert, supreme authority at the World Series, gets together with the 2 managers, Dick Williams and Red Shandy. Following introduction of the starting players, both teams come to attention, along with the crowd, for the national anthem and raising of the flag by the color guard. The 6-man umpiring crew gathers at the plate with the managers. And there go the Red Sox onto the field. Jose Santiago goes to the mound, winning the distinction of hurling the opener because Lonborg, Boston's ace, pitched the pennant clincher Sunday. Santiago had a 12-4 record. Lou Brock, the fleet-footed outfielder, steps into the box as the leadoff batter for the Cardinals. With a count of 1-1, Brock hits one off the fist for a soft line single into left center. Curt Flood now steps into the batter's box. Santiago fires, and there goes Brock. He steals second. After 1 out with 2 on, Orlando Cepeda's at bat. Santiago's in trouble with a 3-2 count on Cepeda, but then Orlando wraps a grounder directly at Dalton Jones, who steps on third base, fires to first, and it's a double play that ends the inning. With the bases filled and only 1 out in the Cardinals' second, manager Williams goes out to talk with Santiago.
How you feeling, Hosey? Well, I'm just out here to give you a little breather. I'm not going to take you out or anything. Just keep that ball down now, and we'll try to get a pair.
With a 2-0 count, Bob Gibson slaps a bouncer to Jones, who juggles the ball momentarily, fires to Jerry Adair, who crosses the bag to avoid the runner, and relays to first base. And for the second straight time, a double play has bailed the Red Sox out of a jam. In the third, Brock leads off again, and Santiago mops his brow, quite understandably. Santiago cuts loose, and Lou Brock whistles a low liner to center field for his second hit. That brings Flood to the plate again, and Santiago is quite conscious of the base-stealing potential of the situation. But Flood hits away and smashes the ball into the left field corner, where it caroms off the wall for a double, with Brock taking third. Roger Maris is the next batter. Santiago looks for the next sign after getting 2 quick strikes on Maris. But this time, Roger grounds to Scott with the infield back, and Brock scores easily. It's the first run of the game as St. Louis takes the lead. In the Boston third, Gibson takes his big windup, and Jose connects solidly with a high fastball, and it goes sailing into the left field screen. A homer isn't a complete novelty for Santiago. He hit one May 14th against Detroit. Jose gets a big reception from his mates, with the score now tied. In the Cardinals' fourth, Julian Javier's on second with Lou Brock at bat. Santiago goes into his stretch, trying again to cool off the sizzling Brock. But Lou pushes a ground single to left. Yastrzemski grabs it, fires to the plate. Russ Gibson dives for the sliding Javier, and he's out. Now here's the instant replay. Yaz scooping up the ball like an infielder, throwing on the run, and the ball carries on the fly to the plate. Gibson dives for Javier, who gives him a small target with a beautiful fall-away slide. But he's out in an eyelash decision by umpire John Stevens. Curt Flood leads off for the Cardinals in the 5th inning. Santiago's first pitch is hammered to left by Flood. It looks like a sure extra base hit, but no, Yastrzemski grabs it with a leaping one-handed stab. It's a miraculous play. Going into the 7th, Santiago has dueled Gibson to a standstill. But Lou Brock leads off with his 4th straight hit, tying a World Series record. Flood is up now and looking for a sign. On the first pitch to Flood, there goes Brock again. And he's safe with a head-first slide. Petrocelli complains in vain on the decision by umpire Umont. We'll play it back in slow motion, and you can make your own decision. Santiago faces Maris with Brock on third, 1 out, and the infield playing in. Santiago pitches, Maris hits towards right field, but Adair makes a spectacular diving stop. He scrambles to his feet, but it's too late to get Brock, who scores. And now the Cardinals lead 2-1. It's the Boston 9th, and Gibson is still stubbornly trying to protect his slim 2-1 edge. He has fanned 10 and allowed only 6 hits. He quickly retires 2, but then Scott walks. Manager Shandes goes to the mound to caution Gibson. A homer over that short fence could win for Boston now. Mike Andrews flies to right field. Maris grabs it to end the game. The Cardinals win 2-1. Shannon leads the rush to congratulate Gibson. It's a big win for him after coming back from a fractured ankle in mid-July. But Brock also shared heavily in the glory, getting 4 hits, scoring both runs, and stealing 2 bases. August Busch, the energetic owner of the St. Louis Cardinals, and his daughter arrive early for the second game. Orlando Cepeda, cleanup slugger of the Cardinals, takes some practice swings. Warren Giles, National League president for 16 years, exudes his usual confidence. The Cardinals loosen up with a snappy pregame infield practice. After the umpires review the ground rules, the Red Sox go charging onto the field, eager for a victory that would square the series. Shouldering the biggest responsibility will be Jim Lonborg, who is starting for Boston. The towering 24-year-old 6'5" hurler has been the stopper for the Red Sox all season, winning 22 games and losing only 9. With 2 out in the Cardinals' second, Lonborg shows his stuff, and Shannon strikes out. Dick Hughes, the St. Louis starter, topped the Cardinal staff this year with a 16-6 record. In the Boston second, Adair flies to left. And Brock spears the ball with a high leaping catch. His momentum carries him against the wall before he can stop. Let's rerun the play in slow motion. Brock's leap not only is high, but also far, as if he's doing a broad jump. Carl Yastrzemski opens for the Red Sox in the fourth. He takes a terrific cut at Hughes' first pitch, but misses. Hughes fires another pitch. This time, Yaz doesn't miss. He connects so solidly, everybody in the park knows it's gone. Yaz goes into his home run trot around the bases, and it's a familiar one, since the star slugger walloped 44 out of the park during the season. Elston Howard comes up with 2 men on and 2 out. And Howard smashes one through the middle. Javier makes a diving stop, an unbelievable play. Then he scrambles to his knees and tosses the ball to Maxville for a force out. Boston now leads 1-0. The Red Sox added another run in the 6th. With 1 out in the 7th, Lonborg has retired 19 in succession. Not a man has reached base, and now he faces Curt Flood. He goes to a 3-2 count, and then walks Flood on a low outside pitch. That ends Lonborg's chances for a perfect game, but he still has a no-hitter going. In the Red Sox 7th, Jose Tartabull and Dalton Jones are on base with nobody out when Yastrzemski loosens up for another turn at bat. Lefty Joe Harner is the new Cardinal pitcher. Yaz steps into the batter's box, wiping his hands dry. Harner pitches, and Yastrzemski really ties into this one. It's a way back over the bullpen and into the bleachers for his second home run of the day. Tartabull and Jones score. Tartabull, Jones, and Scott, the next batter, greet him at the plate, and he gets another welcome. Carl Yastrzemski's 3-run homer has expanded the Boston lead to 5-0. Jim Lonborg, pitching brilliantly, has been a complete mystery to the Cardinals. He still has a no-hitter with 2 out in the 8th, and Julian Javier coming up. Javier pulls Lonborg's first pitch into the left field corner for a double, and that wrecks the no-hitter. As Lonborg warms up in the 9th, he still has a 1-hit shutout, and the crowd gives him a big hand. He retires the first 2 and is 1 out away from victory with Flood at bat. Lonborg looks in for the catcher's sign. Jim pitches, and Flood lifts a fly to center. The Reggie Smith grabs, and Boston wins 5-0. The Red Sox swarm around Lonborg, who has pitched one of the 5 greatest games in World Series history. Only one better was Don Larson's perfect game, and there have been 3 other one-hitters. But the big gun offensively was Yastrzemski with his 2 homers. And now it's off to St. Louis for the third game. The Cardinals and the Red Sox each have their own chartered plane. And away they go, relaxing as they speed over fleecy white clouds. Busch Stadium, beautiful new home of the Cardinals, which was opened May 12th last year. They drew a record 2 million this season. The 630-foot high Gateway Arch is in the background. And now the players come to attention for the national anthem. Manager Dick Williams checks the ground rules with the umpires. Nelson Briles, St. Louis pitcher, was 14 wins and 5 losses, becoming a starter after Bob Gibson broke his ankle. Gary Bell, acquired from Cleveland, will start for Boston. He was 13 and 13 overall this season. Lou Brock leads off for the Cardinals in the first inning. Brock meets a curveball perfectly for a line drive, and there goes the St. Louis Swiftie. He loses his helmet as usual before sliding in with a triple. Curt Flood steps into the box. After taking one pitch, Flood rips the next one for a line single to center, and Brock scores. In the Cardinals' second, Tim McCarver opens the inning. He drills the ball through the middle for a single. Mike Shannon digs in at the plate. Shannon cuts viciously at Bell's first pitch, and there it goes. Yastrzemski starts in pursuit, but it's a home run. Shannon comes crowding around third base while Tim McCarver scores just ahead of him. It's the second World Series homer for Mike, who hit his first against the Yankees in 1964. As Shannon heads for the bench, Cepeda leads the hand-slapping welcome. The Cardinals lead 3-0. With Mike Andrews on second in the Boston sixth, Briles pitches to Jones, and Dalton singles to right. Andrews scores. In the Cardinals' sixth, Maris lines a single to right on a 3-2 pitch. Lou Brock scores from third, and St. Louis leads 4-1. Reggie Smith stretches his muscles as he leads off the Boston seventh against Briles. Smith levels his bat over the plate and slams the first pitch over the bullpen wall for a home run. Smith comes around to score, and he gets a big reception from his mates, who feel that they're still very much in this contest, with the Cardinal lead slashed to 4-2. With Dan Osinski pitching in the Cardinal eighth, Orlando Cepeda hammers the ball off the wall in right center for a double, and Maris scores. St. Louis now leads 5-2. Nelson Briles quickly retires the first two Red Sox in the ninth. Now he shakes off two signs as he faces Jerry Adair. Briles gets the signal he wants, and Adair pops to Shannon. The Cardinals win and take a 2-1 lead in the series. McCarver and Cepeda lead the charge to congratulate Briles. This was really his 10th straight victory. Briles won 10 out of 12 after becoming a starter and closed the National League season with 9 in a row. It's a dark, cloudy day for the fourth game, and the lights are on. And there go the Cardinals. Bob Gibson, who won the opener, meets the Red Sox again. After Gibson retires the first two, he faces Yastrzemski. And Carl lines a single to right to maintain his constant hitting threat in the series. Bob Gibson gets a slider over the outside corner, and Scott strikes out. Jose Santiago is back for his second duel with Gibson. Lou Brock and Kurt Flood are on base with none out in the first inning, and Roger Maris is at bat. Maris smashes a line drive into the left field corner. Roger Maris pulls up at second base with a stand-up double. Brock and Flood, the St. Louis Swifties, come racing home to score the game's first runs. With Maris now on third and one out, Tim McCarver steps to the plate, wiping his hands. The infield is in. With a 2-0 count, McCarver connects with a belt-high fastball and pulls a single into right field. And that sends Maris home with another run. Manager Shane Dees looks over the situation. There are 2 on and 2 out as Maxville comes to bat. Jose Santiago is shaken up, but he keeps firing, and Maxville slashes one past Petrocelli for a single to left. It's the 6th hit off Santiago, and McCarver scores. St. Louis has jumped away to a 4-run lead. With 2 out in the Red Sox second, Rico Petrocelli strikes out on a curveball that's almost in the dirt. In the Boston third, Joe Foy fans on an outside pitch. Jerry Stevenson is the Red Sox pitcher in the Cardinals' third. 1 run is across with Shannon on first and 1 out when Javier steps to the plate. Stevenson delivers, and Javier smashes the ball past the diving Jones. Yastrzemski runs it down in left field. Yaz cuts loose with a throw, but Shannon scores from first. The Cardinals now lead 6-0. Bob Gibson warms up for the Boston 8th. He's been in complete command so far, allowing only 3 hits with not a runner passing first base. With 2 out, Jose Tartabull, who has 1 of the 3 hits, is at bat. Gibson pitches, and wow, he almost gets sculled as Tartabull's low liner whizzes over his head into center field. The St. Louis partisans in the crowd are enjoying themselves to the hilt. Bob Gibson still has a shutout going into the 9th inning as Carl Yastrzemski leads off for Boston. Yaz tears into Gibson's first pitch for a hit to right that bounces off the wall, and he goes into second with a double. Jerry Adair is now at bat with 2 out. Adair smashes the ball through Gibson, but Javier grabs it and throws him out. And St. Louis wins 6-0 to take a 3-1 lead in the series. It was all Bob Gibson today as he fired a 5-hitter for his second victory over the Red Sox. Busch Stadium, bright and beautiful in the sun, is the scene of action as Boston, down 3-1, fights for survival in the series. Red Sox owner Tom Yawkey's on hand early to watch Yastrzemski, his newest pride and joy. Carl has succeeded Ted Williams as the big hero in Boston. Steve Carlton, 14-9 during the season, warms up for St. Louis. He's the first southpaw starter in the series. With Andrews on first base, Foy on second and 2 out in the 3rd inning, Ken Harrelson comes to bat for Boston. With a 2-1 count, Harrelson singles to left. Brock sees no chance at the plate, and Foy scores. Jim Lonborg is holding on to a slim lead in this must game for Boston. In the Cardinal fifth, Lonborg, leading 1-0, strikes out Mike Shannon on a low-breaking curveball. In the Boston sixth, with Ken Harrelson on first base, George Scott smashes a pitch over second. Javier spears the ball backhanded, flips it to Maxville. It's a double play, and what a play. Let's look at it again. As he falls down, Javier tosses the ball under his left elbow, and the throw is perfect. There is such lightning dexterity, such flawless ballet precision, that the entire dazzling play is completed in just 5 seconds from the time the ball is hit. In the Cardinals' sixth, Bob Tolan bats for Carlton and takes the third strike. Lonborg has a 2-hitter, but leads only 1-0 after 8 innings. Ron Willis takes over the Cardinal pitching in the Boston ninth. Reggie Smith comes up after George Scott opens with a walk. Smith goes with an outside pitch and strokes it to left. Brock runs it down and throws to second while Scott takes third, and Smith pulls up with a double. After Petrocelli is walked intentionally, Elston Howard takes the first pitch. Then Jack LeMahieu comes in to relieve Ron Willis. Elston Howard gets set again. Howard cuts it a low pitch. Scott heads back to third to tag up, but it's a little blooper nobody can reach. Scott comes in to score, and when Maris throws high to the plate, Smith also comes sliding home as McCarver is too late diving after the runner. Lonborg is on the verge of his second successive shutout. He has 2 out in the ninth with Maris at bat. Rogers swings, and there it goes, over the right field wall for a home run. It's the 6th homer he has hit in World Series competition. That ruins Lonborg's shutout, and he's still 1 out away from victory with Orlando Cepeda coming up. Lonborg reaches back for something extra, and Cepeda smashes the ball at Foy, who makes a dazzling stop and throws him out. The Red Sox win 3-1. The amazing Lonborg has done it again. In 2 starts, he has allowed only 4 hits, the fewest ever given up by a pitcher in 2 consecutive games in World Series history. And now it's back to Boston for Game 6. Hall of Famer Joe Cronin, president of the American League, is out early hoping for a Red Sox victory. Managers Dick Williams and Red Shandy seem perfectly relaxed as they get together before the 6th game. Red Sox publicity director Bill Crowley and general manager Dick O'Connell look over the situation. Williams gambles with rookie pitcher Gary Waslewski. It's his first start since September the 3rd when he was with Toronto. Here are the umpires: Paul Pryor, Augie Donatelli, Frank Humont, Al Barlick, Ed Runge, and John Stevens. Dick Hughes comes back for his 2nd shot at the Red Sox. Rico Petrocelli steps to the plate in the Boston 2nd with 2 away. And Petrocelli connects solidly. It's up, up, over the fence and into the screen for a home run. Rico jogs around the bases to the welcome of his teammates. With Javier on second and 2 out in the Cardinals' third, the sizzling Lou Brock again poses a threat. Gary Waslewski pitches, but Brock slashes a grounder toward right. Andrews dives but misses. And Javier scores easily. Waslewski checks Brock and then pitches to Flood, and there goes Lou on another steal. He beats the throw easily. Waslewski pitches, and Flood rifles a low liner to left field for a single. And here comes Brock. He's sliding headfirst safely past catcher Elston Howard. Lou Brock gets a wild welcome as St. Louis now leads 2-1. Carl Yastrzemski leads off the Boston fourth. And with the fans, it's Yaz for mayor. Yaz smashes an outside pitch to left. It's in the netting for a home run. That's number 3 for the Boston Slugger in the series and ties the score 2-all. Reggie Smith comes up after Hughes gets 2 out. Smith gets around on this one and hooks a drive into the right field seats for another home run. And Reggie himself seems to be the happiest guy of all. Manager Shane Deese goes out to talk with Hughes.
Dick, how you feeling? Keep your good stuff on the ball now. Keep it down on this guy. He likes to pull the ball anyway, so keep it away. Go get him now.
Rico Petrocelli is back at the plate. And Rico slams the ball to left center. It's in the netting for the 3rd homer of the inning, a new World Series record. The short left field fence is called the Green Monster, but today it's anything but that for the Red Sox. In the Cardinal 5th inning, Lou Brock wraps a grounder toward right. Scott makes a fine backhanded play. It takes him several strides to regain his balance and get off a throw to Waslewski, but the flying Brock is out on a great play. Boy grabs Javier's smash in the Cardinals' 6th, and it's close at first base. So close that Javier comes back and argues the decision. With Bob Tolan on first base in the Cardinals' 7th, Brock takes a tremendous cut at a John Wyatt fastball. It might be, it could be, it is. Holy cow, what a blast. Probably 440 feet. Tolan and Brock cross the plate. And Lou gets the royal treatment again from his mates. Now the game is tied at 4-all. With 2 runs across in the Boston 7th, Larry Jasper relieves Joe Horner. With 2 men on and 1 out, Adair bats for Tartabull. He flies to deep center where Kurt Flood hauls it in, and Andrews scores on the sacrifice fly. After Scott singled, Smith comes up with 2 on base. Smith barely meets the ball for a shallow fly ball that 3 Cardinals converge on. Brock races in but misses, and Flood fields it while Yastrzemski scores another run, and the Red Sox now lead 8-4. Gary Bell has the job of protecting this Boston margin in the Cardinal 9th. With 2 already out, Roger Maris hits to left, and Yastrzemski holds it to a single. Orlando Cepeda now faces Gary Bell. A breaking pitch is topped by Cepeda, and Bell moves over to throw him out. Boston wins and forces the series to the limit of 7 games. Bell's relief work wrapped it up, but the big heroes of this clutch victory were Gary Waslewski and Rico Petrocelli. Waslewski, who had pitched only 42 innings for Boston, held the Cardinals at bay into the 6th, and it was Petrocelli who paced the explosive attack with a pair of homers. Manager Red Shane Deese gets together with Bob Gibson, his starter, in this decisive 7th game. Jim Toomey, the Cardinal publicity director, is on hand early, and so is the great Stan Musial, now the St. Louis Cardinals general manager. Boston pins all its hopes on Jim Lonborg, who will pitch with only 2 days rest in the head-and-head duel of the 2 pitching aces. In the Cardinals' 3rd, Dal Maxfield opens with a smash off the center field wall. And Maxfield sprints into 3rd with a triple. After 2 outs, Flood is up, with Maxfield still on 3rd. Lonborg pitches. Kurt lines a single to center. And Maxville scores the game's first run. On the next pitch, Roger Maris grounds towards first, and the ball gets past Scott for a single to right field. And Flood races around to third. With Cepeda at bat, Lonborg breaks a wild pitch into the dirt, and Flood scores. In the Boston fourth, with 2 out, Bob Gibson still hasn't allowed a hit, and he fans Harrelson. It's his 7th strikeout. Newsmen from all over the country and even from overseas are here for the World Series. With 1 away in the 5th, Gibson hammers a long drive to center. The ball lands on a ledge just to the right of the flagpole. It's a home run. Homers aren't unique for Bob, but this is his first in the World Series. St. Louis scores again in the inning and leads 4-0. George Scott leads off in the Red Sox 5th. Scott leans into one and crashes the ball off the wall in center. As it caroms away, George goes into third with a triple. But Javier's relay throw is wild, and Scott scores. It's the first hit as well as the first run for Boston. With Shannon and McCarver on base in the Cardinals' 6th, Santiago is warming up in the bullpen. Julian Javier comes up with none out. Lonborg bears down, but Javier slams one to left. It's a home run, and Yastrzemski just watches. It's the 13th home run in the series by both clubs, and this one is a crusher. McCarver and Shannon score ahead of Javier in a joyous parade that gives St. Louis a commanding 7-1 margin. Javier gets a big reception from his mates. In the Cardinals' 9th, Lou Brock is in there again for his 7th stolen base of the series, a new record. Carl Yastrzemski leads off for the Red Sox in the 9th and gets a standing ovation. Gibson has a 2-hitter and a 7-2 lead as he faces Yastrzemski. Carl smashes a single to right field. That brings Ken Harrelson to the plate. Gibson delivers, and Harrelson hits a grounder to short. It's Maxville to Javier to Cepeda, a double play. Now, 1 out from victory, Gibson makes a supreme effort, and Scott strikes out. The Cardinals win. They're the new world champions. And Bob Gibson, with his 3rd victory, has brought them through in the decisive 7th game, even as he did in 1964 against the New York Yankees. It was another spectacular series, with the Red Sox fighting their way back after being down 3-1, with records shattered and glittering heroes on both sides to underline once again that for sheer drama and thrills, the World Series is unmatched anywhere on the sports scene.
We're gonna cheer and